And is tonight apologising for the SNP's role in the Westminster expenses saga. But he's also stressing that none of his MPs has used public money to play the property market, so-called flipping, which has lain at the heart of this controversy. Well, today, the Daily Telegraph published the expenses details of the SNP leader at Westminster, Angus Robertson. Now, he's accused of being cavalier with taxpayers' money when it came to kitting out his London home, as David Kerr reports.
It's shopping in places like this that have put this SNP MP into the expenses spotlight today. £400 in a home cinema system to accompany his telly at £1,119, and all paid for by you, the taxpayer. Now, nobody's denying that Angus Robertson has to furnish his London flat, but could he have done it more cheaply? We've come here to IKEA in the outskirts of Edinburgh with his shopping list to find out if we can. One corkscrew, a set of knives, a rug, some bed linen, and finally, a bed. So whilst Angus Robertson amassed all this for the grand total of £3,133, we've just accumulated it all at IKEA for £472. That's saving you, the taxpayer, a total of £2,661. So what did the people of Moray think of an MP who spends £20 on a corkscrew?
More than £5 would certainly be absolutely extortionate, I would think.
I think it's a disgrace.
I know where I'd like to put it.
So an apology from Labour, an apology from the Conservatives, an apology from the Liberal Democrats, no apology from the SNP.
Well, you didn't ask me about apology. I apologise for two things. I think I apologise for us being caught up and being party by our presence to an expenses system which is clearly open to widespread abuse. I think that was entirely wrong. We should have campaigned harder to change that system. We absolutely should have done that. And secondly, I think instead of just waiting for the Westminster Parliament to adopt what the Scottish Parliament has done, instead of waiting for the Westminster Parliament to go for openness and transparency, we should have done that ourselves, and that's what we're going to do now.
As for the MP himself, well, for a politician who's never knowingly understated, he's tonight refusing to talk to the media. David Kerr, reporting Scotland.
So, nothing so far from Angus Robertson, but one Scots Labour MP has been speaking and also opened his chequebook, as I discovered from our Westminster correspondent, David Porter.
Yes, that is Mark Lazarovich, the MP for Edinburgh North and Leith. He has decided to pay back £2,675. That was part of the costs associated with a flat he was negotiating to buy in London. He says he doesn't think he's done anything wrong, but he's had a look at the expenses and he thinks perhaps the expenses he claimed were too much, so he's paying that money back, which is half of the money he was awarded by the Fees Office. But he hasn't quite paid it back yet. We spoke to him a short while ago and he said he'd actually left his chequebook up in Edinburgh, so he will be paying it, but not yet. It's a case of the cheque is in the post, but not quite yet. Another MP who has featured is Ming Campbell. He claimed about £10,000 for renovations to his flat in London over a period of time. He is one of a number of Liberal Democrat MPs who the Daily Telegraph has reported on today.
And briefly, Michael Martin under pressure again.
Still under pressure, and it is pressure from his own side. Senior figures in the Labour Party, one of them the senior Labour MP Paul Flynn, and one the former Mayor of London Ken Livingstone, have both said they think he ought to go. The Tory MP Douglas Carswell, who has been talking about a motion of no confidence in the Speaker, said he will now produce that next week, and he has more than 6 signatures. It is worth saying that it is very difficult to try and get rid of a sitting Speaker of the House of Commons, but I think there are a growing number of MPs who would like Michael Martin to make some public statement that he does intend to stand down, perhaps in the not too far distant future. I think it is a case of watch this space.
David, thank you. Now, tonight's other main news. 2 patients suffering from C. difficile have died. A doctor